Hey, Chris Liepe here with Daniel Johns of Silverchair, a vocal transformation. Daniel Johns has fascinated me as a vocalist for many years. I love his voice. I originally got into Silverchair during the Frog Stomp era, as many of you probably did. But the diorama era, oh man, amazing vocals, amazing everything, arranging, all that stuff. And in this particular video, we're going to be comparing and contrasting Daniel's approach between these two eras. We've got isolated vocals from Tomorrow, and we've got isolated vocals from Tuna in the Brine. Tomorrow was recorded in 1995. Tuna in the Brine was recorded in 2002. So there's not that much space in between, but there was some major things happening in his voice. In another video, we'll get into his more recent stuff, which is, again, another departure. But I really wanted to focus on these two approaches. If you find this kind of stuff valuable and interesting, and you'd like more help with your own voice, click the link below and join my free voice course. There's lots of ways we can work from there together. But that's the best place to start. All right, let's dig in and see what he's doing from a tonal perspective, from a compression and grit perspective, and from a more global perspective. 1995, Daniel Johns.
It's 12 o'clock and it's a wonderful day. I know you hate me, but I'll ask anyway.
Basic observations here. This is 1995. We are at the height of grunge, Nirvana. You can hear the slurred sound of his approach here. It's that lazy aggressive that was so popular, that Kurt Cobain sort of thing. Now he's not imitating Kurt Cobain, but he is using that sort of mindset, or that sort of, you know, he's got the plaid shirt on for sure. Also, notice his tone. He's doing a little bit of back of tongue cupping, which you will not hear in the later era Daniel Johns. He is shaping his tone absolutely for this era. And he's very young here also. His vocal performance is great. But there are these obvious nods to the era, even in this very first portion that we're listening to. Let's go listen to the opening of Tuna in the Brine and hear how his tone in a similar intro capacity is functioning.
I found the keys to my heart when everyone's heart seems so calm. And you found the lock to my dorm and opened the doors to my trust fund.
Very interesting. There's a lot more breath going on. If you were to sing that like Frog Stomp era, he didn't have that sort of dynamic lowness in his voice back then.
I found the keys to my heart.
Listen to the way he's using breath. The other observation here is that he's letting his native sort of Australian accent come through a bit more here. He's being more himself. I think he found himself and his own style much more in that gap.
When everyone's heart seems so calm, and you found the lock to my dorm.
Gone is the tongue cupping. No. His resonance is much more forward. He's not trapping his resonance as much in the back of his throat. You can sense that his sound has been brought more into the mask, and his teeth are a bit more out of the way. All right, let's move on to a bit more dynamic part of the song.
You wait till tomorrow.
Hear that you? You! No, it's you! Wait till! He's definitely got that tongue cupping going on. And that harmony's really neat. But listen to what happens here.
You say that money isn't everything, but I'd like to see you live without it.
He's got a very one-volume approach when he's singing down here, contrasting that with his later self. But listen here.
You think you can keep on going, living like a king.
Love this line, by the way. One more time.
You think you can keep on going, living like a king.
When he goes up in his range, he pushes harder. You think! You think! And he's pushing right up to that vocal break and allowing himself to be comfortable pushing into what might otherwise be a crack. And then right here.
Oh, and living like a king.
Living like a king. Again, a very consistent amount of compression, a consistent amount of pressure.
History, the light in my darkest hour is fair tonight.
Now, there's the same two-part kind of harmony arrangement going on. Daniel is harmonizing with himself. Listen to the dynamics present here, as well as the tonal differences.
History, the light in my darkest.
In my darkest hour. He's bringing this resonance around. He's moving it around in addition to moving his dynamics up and down. He swells into that darkest. Dark. And then with ist, darkest hour. He has darkest really forward as he's singing it. Dark. And then he's moving it slightly back. He's moving the resonance back toward his soft palate as he descends that line. Now, is he really thinking about this? I've got to move my... No. But he has practiced enough adding dynamics, both in volume and in tonal placement, to his voice. He's allowing himself to be himself a little bit more. If he were to sing this like the 1995 version, it might sound more like this. In my darkest hour. Very much more plowed through. We don't have the swells. We don't have the moving around of all these tonal possibilities. And we certainly don't have the breathiness and the freedom that he displays. But there's another really interesting shift that he makes in the 2002 version of his singing self. Let's find out what that is.
So don't lose your heart, you need it.
He's always had a very agile voice, right? We've got this.
Don't lose your heart, you need it. So
Don't. That's really, really cool stuff. But listen to what he does here.
don't lose your heart, you need it.
You need. He really is comfortable moving between his chest and his head resonances. You don't hear him push up into that gritty self near as much. Yeah, he still does it in this era. Not really in this song. But he is way more free to move in and out of his entire range and set of resonances because he is incorporating head voice trips all the time. And they're so wonderful to listen to and experience.
And don't lose your heart, you'll have to take another another pill.
Right there on take another head voice. Listen here.
Don't lose your heart.
Don't lose. Lots of dynamics. Don't lose your heart. Breathing, sort of sighing into that note. And then the subtle head voice access.
Take another pill and tell another lie.
Tell another lie. I'm really exaggerating that, but this is key to his approach. And what it seems like a lot of singers who start young are able to access and have more freedom with later. Take another pill. Take another pill is how he would sort of one-dimensionally do that earlier in his career. Here, take another pill. Head voice transfer, dynamics, breathiness, not a slave to one tone that he's sort of grabbing from an era.
Are you gonna wait till fat boy, wait till tomorrow?
I like this line a lot. This is one of those that stuck with me for all these years.
Wait till tomorrow.
Oh. I love it when people can sigh in and out of notes. It creates a neat sense of movement. And listen to his grit one more time here.
Are you gonna wait till fat boy?
You're gonna wait till fat boy. Get the pitches in the ballpark. And this is a really good one to practice breaking up on because you have that two. So our voice naturally wants to crack right there. You're gonna wait till. Your voice wants to do that. So when it starts to do that on two, lean into that crack. You're gonna wait till. You're gonna wait till, fat boy. Let your voice push up to that point where it's uncomfortable, not hurting, but uncomfortable in terms of maintaining that high pitch. You're gonna wait till, fat boy! And then you get that sort of sound. You're gonna wait till, fat boy! Fat boy! Wait till tomorrow! Now, if we combine earlier Daniel Johns with later Daniel Johns over this line, some really interesting things could happen. The breathiness, the dynamics, the freedom of the back of the tongue and soft palate area to not be moving with this sort of grungy tongue cupping thing that's going on. You're gonna wait to. What if we went to head voice there, but we gritted it up at the very beginning? You're gonna wait too, fat boy! And then sighed out of that at the end with some breathiness. You're gonna wait too, fat boy! Ooh. So it's fun to work on combining the approaches of one singer from two different eras and see what you can do. Wait till tomorrow. You're gonna wait till, fat boy, wait till tomorrow. I'll tell you, the chest voice, head voice, dancing that Daniel does in his later career is really what got me into experimenting with both of my resonances. It's really compelling. I hope you enjoy seeing these approaches blended over the different lines.
Closer now than we ever have been. We're closer now than we ever should. We be closer now than we've ever been before. Closer to everything.
Closer to everything. It's very forward. There's none of this going on. It's very forward and lots of neat dancing around with his head voice. Thanks for watching this compare, contrast, vocal transformation of Daniel Johns. Leave me comments. Let me know how you liked this format, this approach. and I'll do more of them. Also, thank you for suggesting a video on Daniel Johns. I've been meaning to do one for quite a while. Again, if you'd like more help with your voice, click that link below, join my free course. We'll see you for more.